The original Constitution, as it was framed in 1787 and ratified in 1789, just set up the structure of government. And by doing that, the framers expected that the separation of powers and the other institutional protections built into the structure would protect the rights of citizens. It was shortly thereafter amended to add a Bill of Rights, and thereby make sort of doubly sure, if you will, that the government would be restrained from interfering with the lawful activities of the citizenry. The framers made lawmaking difficult. It's a slow process, and it doesn't happen unless there's a sufficient public backing for a particular measure. The new states, 13 states, signed a document creating a confederation of sovereign states. They were not unified into a single entity, and that proved unworkable. And so it became necessary to have a constitution that integrated the states and created what the Constitution itself says, a more perfect union. They were ceding certain of their powers to the federal government, to this new entity. And they were very jealous about what they would cede and what they would not. There were a lot of divisions among the states as to what should be allowed to the federal government and what should be retained by the states. The Federalists wanted more power in the federal government. The Anti-Federalists wanted the opposite. The Constitution facilitates both cooperation among the states and competition among the states by creating a huge, now continental, free market in which capital and labor and people can move around freely. We have the most productive economy in the world. The states retained the police power and generally the authority to govern their economy and to protect the rights of their citizens. They ended up competing with each other, especially once travel and communication became easier. They competed with each other to attract businesses, to attract people that would enhance their economies. And they do that to this day. We see states offering tax benefits to companies that will move into their state. We see states affirmatively seeking people to come there and settle. So that competition among the states has a very significant restraining effect on what they do. A state that becomes hostile to business is going to lose businesses and people. No state can fence people out. And that means that we are free to leave, to vote with our feet if we don't like what our state is doing. Our Constitution was not imposed upon us. It was created by framers who were elected to do that and then brought back to the people in each of the states to be ratified. Now, of course, the ratification didn't include all of today's voters. It didn't include, in some states, people without property. Women didn't vote. Young people under 21 didn't vote in most states. But that concept of going back to the people and securing their ratification of the Constitution gave us an instrument to which the population had consented. And generation after generation, we continue to do that by adhering to the Constitution. It can be amended, and we amend it from one time to another, but we retain it because it works. You notice how few people ever leave this country to go somewhere else, and how many people want to come to this country.